It is a weather wagers time here at ABC 27, and want to say hello and welcome from me, Dan Tomaso, and this guy over here.
Brett Thacker with you. It is Weather Wagers, and we're happy to be coming to you here on a Thursday. You can, of course, always find us wherever you find your podcasts or your shows online. New episodes every Thursday. Now, we are going to take a break for the holidays, I will say. We are going to take a break. So this year, it's weird. The holidays fall on Thursdays. So we're going to be back after the new year. But you can find us and watch our old episodes wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, and, of course, the ABC 27 Plus app. Let me tell you about the day that I have had.
Let's hear it, my friend. It seems like you've been through the ringer since you woke up.
It is just, it's podcast recording day. I love Thursdays because I try to bring the energy, right? And we actually have some weather to talk about here in central Pennsylvania. We're going to have a big-time cold front coming through tonight. Rain, wind. We just got done recording for the station. 'Twas the night before Christmas. You said you never heard the line in there about a wild hurricane flying.
Yeah, I've totally missed that throughout the years.
Yeah, nope, that is a classic line, and I always picked up on it because I always like the weather. Well, that's what's going to happen tonight. A wild hurricane is going to fly, so to speak, with wind and rain and maybe some thunder tonight.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come in and be on my game. So
yesterday was highs in the upper 50s in spots. I mean, it was a wild day yesterday, too.
Felt like spring. All that snow we had melting away. I come in at 3 a.m. That's the time that I have to get up and come in for the morning shift here. That's TV. And I'm about halfway down the highway, and I realize I don't have my suit coat. Okay, because I don't wear it. I put it on a hanger and I bring it in for later because I don't like wearing it when I'm forecasting.
Yeah, I'm always hot.
Coffee.
I'm always hot.
So I realize I don't have it. Well, thank goodness I found an extra one here that matched my pants. So that's the first
very
thing.
Lucky.
Okay, that was the first thing. Then I get into work, and one of our computers...
Otherwise, you could do suit separates, I guess,
Suit separates, yes, which this was, by the way, but it still looked okay. Then I come into work, and one of our computers does not have the internet. So that threw me off. So then I was...
And I'm sleeping, so I can't help you.
You couldn't help me, so I'm behind. And when you get behind, it's like a snowball. And so it just cascaded throughout the day. I didn't get done what I needed to get done. I have all this extra end-of-the-year stuff to take care of before I go on the break, right? So I was doing all of that. And then to top it off, I ended up spilling chili all over my white shirt. As I was eating my lunch.
Some Skyline chili?
Not some Skyline, just some regular good chili that I made for the family the other night, and it went all over the place. It has just been one of those days.
But you're back together again. I mean, you're here.
Well, believe it or not, I found an extra white shirt. I don't know whose clothes I'm wearing around here today.
So should we fade Brett today on your picks?
No, because I actually had a good week last week, and we're going to get into that here in just a bit. But let's get started by talking about Penn State and Penn State filling out its coaching staff. We're going to talk about a lot before we get into the picks from last week. Matt Campbell, the guy, coming on in. It's funny, you and I don't mean to do this, but oftentimes lately it seems like we're taking opposing views, and that's not just for TV or the podcast here. We actually say what we mean. Imagine that.
Yeah.
But as we fill out the coaching staff, this is always fun though. First, the coaching search, which wasn't fun for Penn State fans. It took a while, but again, better to be Penn State fans than Michigan fans today.
Well, maybe.
However, Iowa State, the hires that Matt Campbell is bringing in. You've got a young OC, rumors swirling today. And again, I always emphasize this. You and I are not sports reporters.
No, we just see what we see.
We don't pretend to be. But we are seeing that maybe there's some Danton Lynn smoke from USC. Don't know if that's a done deal yet or not, but it certainly seems like there's some smoke there. So you've got those rumors flying around. You've got new staff coming in. You've got a
Taylor Mauser, OC.
Yeah, young guy. You've got a pretty heralded wide receiver coach in Pauly coming in. Noah Pauly, I believe is his name.
That's correct.
That is actually something I'm looking forward to.
That might be the best staffer they brought on so far.
So... But having said all of this, even with the potential addition of an alumni in Danton Lynn, and we don't know that that's going to happen yet.
They've tried before. Franklin's staff tried to bring him on before.
Yeah, but then we pivoted to Jim Knowles, and now he's at Tennessee. So much of what I'm hearing over the last week is, excitement, guarded enthusiasm from some Penn State fans. But Matt Campbell has earned the right to bring in his guys. James Franklin is doing that at Virginia Tech. And yet I look over at Dan, and he's sitting there yawning and saying this is all underwhelming to him. And, I guess my question to you is, what were you expecting?
Well, I go back to this press conference that started this whole process off with our esteemed athletic director, Pat Kraft, and he said, we are going after a national championship. I want to hire a coach that's going to win a national championship. Staff, players need to be at a higher caliber. I mean, he set the bar. He did it himself. Then you follow it up with a press conference that introduces the new head coach. Pretty much the same sentiment. We're here to win a national championship. That's my expectation. I mean, again, supposedly we have a large pool of money for players and for coaching staff. And so far, I've seen all of our experienced coaches leave other than Terry Smith. So that's concerning. And then secondly, with all this money, I want to see Penn State go get the best of the best. And maybe this Taylor Mauser, is pretty good. Maybe the quarterback's coach can help some lower tier talent develop. Maybe. But I just want to remind everyone, we are not Iowa State. We are Penn State. We are at supposedly the top tier of the Big Ten. We're not at the middle of the Big 12. So to me, it is underwhelming. To me, I wanted to see another year of Jim Knowles. I wanted to see what another year under his belt, under his regime, would do for this defensive backfield, for the D-line. I don't know. To me, it's just like... to me, it just feels overall massive step back and rebuild. And I did not want to rebuild as a fan. That's just how I feel.
Well, let's clear up a couple of myths in some of the things that you said, because I think that you're responding emotionally, which is okay, because that's what fans do.
Yeah, and again, this is a fan podcast.
You're allowed to do that, and that's fine. And I don't disagree with every nugget of what you said, but let's get a couple of things straight here. Number one, 2026 was always going to be a rebuild in terms of personnel. There was going to be a lot of guys leaving. We paid a lot of money to keep these players in to make a national championship run. So you were going
and
to
everybody was all in with that, by the way.
Yeah, no, everybody, including me and you, and
Yep.
That's fine. But this was, so many of these guys were going to be leaving after this year. The roster was going to be reset anyway. So that to me, it's a wash. Whoever we bring in now is going to be different than who was going to be here anyway. And this is a group of players that were highly paid to stay, and they flopped. And the coaching staff flopped. And the reality of it is, I think resetting it is not a bad thing. I don't want to rebuild either. But, Dan, I think it's a little too early to say that. The schedule lightens up next year. Nobody's going to be happy if we go 8-4. I agree with you. And maybe that's how we have to do it. But at the end of the day, too, the guy may win 10 or 11 games next year again and be right back in contention based on the schedule and based on the fact that he has been able to coach his players to a pretty high level. Now, the other thing is, by the calendar standard, I think Penn State dropped the ball. You didn't have anybody in place by signing day. It cost us a class. That in and of itself.
That's malpractice right there.
Yeah, maybe a rebuild. And that is malpractice. I do agree, because if Matt Campbell had been targeted first and hired early, you may even have a different opinion of all of this. But I think we have to give him and his staff a chance to come in, reset the table how they want to set it, and get to work, because I do feel he is going to be a very hard worker in trying to get this ship righted. And with Terry Smith on board,
I think he's a very good leader. I think he's a very good person.
And Trace McSorley is staying, so not every coach left.
Yes, but the big positions, and that's where, again, you go from...
Well, the big positions flopped. I mean, Andy Kotelnicki was nothing short of embarrassing this year. Jim Knowles gave up 36 points and 500 yards to Rutgers.
Yeah, but you can't tell me Danton Lynn, if he's the defensive coordinator, makes you feel good after Jim Knowles. It just can't.
Well,
it just can't.
Listen, I get it, but Jim Knowles didn't make me feel very good about Jim Knowles this year. Sorry. Go to Tennessee, and we're, next year, I know we're going to be having the conversation. Penn State misses the playoffs, and Tennessee's in the playoffs.
Yep.
I know it. I can feel it. I hear you.
It's coming.
But I also think the negativity is a little much.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to ask you a quick philosophical question before we move on. Doesn't it anger you to watch the success of Indiana? Lowly Indiana. There was no rebuild there. Kirk Cincinnati came on last year, made an immediate impact. They spent the money. They got coordinators. They got players in the portal, and they went ripping. And now they're ripping again. And by the way, they're rumored with every quarterback out there in the portal, and we're not.
Well, I do.
It's upsetting.
So this is probably your best point, and I think there's a lot of programs out there, not just Penn State, that should be upset at what Indiana's been able to do. Now, let's be honest.
Not everybody's Kirk Cinetti. I get that.
Yeah, I think Indiana got lucky in
Yes.
ways, and you have to. That's part of what this is.
Yep.
You know, Matt Campbell, given our research, we may have hit a home run here.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet, but that's the hope. Indiana was hoping that with Kirk Cinetti, and they did it. Now, Indiana is putting their full breadth of
it's
resources
amazing.
behind the football program to get players. And you're right. Sam Levitt's out there in the portal. We need a quarterback. All I heard was Pat Kraft talk money and resources, and we're going after the best of the best. Why aren't we being mentioned for Sam Levitt? Now, maybe it's things are too new at Penn State. We haven't felt the waters out yet. Again, maybe we have to wait a year. I don't want to do that either, but that just may be the reality. But that being said, we're never mentioned for any of these big players.
But again, Indiana didn't wait a year, and that's
Correct.
my problem with it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me with what's available to Penn State, what we say we are as a top-tier program. Things just don't seem to be lining up to me.
Well, listen, but again, I think you're the one that has always said fans need to have realistic expectations.
Sure.
And
But I was just told what my expectations should be. So, again,
yeah, and we just fired a coach who won 10 or 11 games.
that's exactly right.
And we better be in the playoff next year, or else everybody else is going to be on the hot
Correct.
seat. So I'm with you. I don't. Neither one of us knows what to make of it. We have to let it play out.
I just think, unfortunately for Matt Campbell, as much as I'm underwhelmed by a lot of things, I think he's been set up to fail, and I think it's going to be a bumpy road.
Well, but it's one as a fan I'm willing to take. So let's see what happens.
Okay.
Next season, a bumpier road could be Michigan and their coaching.
Oh,
was
I've been
because
waiting for this graphic to come up.
That ended on a bad note, and we talked a little bit
There
about
he
last week.
is.
Now listen.
He's done up there, though.
Sharon Moore was fired. He was
Yeah.
detained. It's a sad story. As I said, we're not reporters. There's lots that has come out about it. You
I feel like
can
I
go-
get updates daily,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
well, right. You can go read about it. None of it's good. And here we have the man who I said I enjoy looking at pictures of Biff
There he
Poggi.
is! Biff!
I mean, Biff and Steve, that is a picture. And the best part of it is
He's all biffed up.
that trophy is filled with cheese.
I know. The picture was perfect. And by the way, what is Sark thinking in that photo? I mean, he's got to be like, what happened?
He may be thinking about which NFL jobs are going to be open. But no, they look good together, actually. And I'm talking about Biff and the Cheez-Its. But I do. There is still talk, and I just heard Bruce Feldman say this on his podcast, The Audible, that this may wind up if Kalen DeBoer rebuffs them, and he has basically said he is staying in Alabama.
Well, until they lose a playoff game, then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but I think he's been pretty firm in that. I also think he's the type of coach that doesn't say one thing and do another. Now, somebody that's straddled the line, Kenny Dillingham, he hasn't said,
shot it down.
I am going to stay at Arizona State. I think he may use this
Now-
like other coaches did to get more
Right,
resources
right.
from Arizona State. It's his alma mater.
But they got to be maxed out. Arizona State can only do so much.
Maybe. But that's going to be one to watch. But again, because of where we're at in the calendar, Bruce Feldman said retaining Biff Poggi for a year, kind of like the
bridge,
the Stanford situation with Frank Reich, right? That maybe that's what they end up doing. I would love it for a couple of reasons.
It would be entertainment.
It would be entertainment, and I don't think that's really a great answer in the long term for Michigan. But, again...
Well, what if they go out and beat Texas? Which I don't think is going to happen because I think there's going to be a large defection of players.
Arch Manning has announced he's coming back, so Texas is in a pretty good spot. And maybe they do, but I think Texas is a better team. But let me ask you this, based on what we know. Is Michigan a toxic place? Because they may have won a championship, and maybe a place like Penn State says, you know what? They went all in. Didn't care who they hurt. Didn't care if they cheated. They won a title.
Yeah, they love the trail they left behind.
And it was an unapologetic title. And here we are again, just scrapping and clawing, like you said, maybe taking a step back. Certainly it feels like a reset. We just can't get over, Indiana's ahead of us. Frustrating. But I don't really want a championship like that because I'm just going to say it, everything about that program is in ruin.
Well, I mean, it starts with Harbaugh, right? I mean, the lack of accountability and the lack of rule enforcement from the NCAA. I mean, everyone makes fun of the cheeseburger incident where essentially he was in contact with a player when he shouldn't have been. And, tampering happens in college football, tampering happens in the NFL, but it's a serious offense when it's caught. And so that kind of started the spiral down. And then you had the Connor Stallions wearing sunglasses and stealing signs from other teams that were playing lower level opponents. And so you add all that together, and it's snowballed.
Well, and now you have more serious
Well,
issues.
and to a lot of people's point, these types of things had to be going on. These character flaws, these issues had to be pretty prevalent in the program, and it seems like no one really wanted to attack it or do anything about it. And again, this is always my thing is when you make a coaching change in the case of Harbaugh, why do you bring on someone who was under him? You know, that's the part I don't understand.
I can answer that very easily. And the reason is, again, the college football calendar.
I guess.
He left very late in January to go to the NFL. And at that point, there was nobody left. They needed to keep recruits. They needed the continuity. They had won a national title with that staff.
But it's just with what was allowed to go on with the cheating, it just makes makes no sense.
And now in hindsight, it looks like a terrible decision.
And by the way, now everyone's saying don't make the same mistake again and hire Jesse Minter, who was the DC.
Yeah, I don't think it's
on
be
that
him.
staff. I don't think it's going to be him either.
But again, if you're Kenny Dillingham, I guess, or anybody, but Coach X, but let's just say Kenny Dillingham, because I don't think it's going to be Kalen DeBoer. Is Michigan too toxic? Why would you want to go up there? You may not know who your AD is. Why would you want to go up there and get involved in all of that?
They have an interim president.
When you're happy at Arizona State, maybe they do commit a few more resources to you. You're at your alma mater.
Well,
or does the Michigan brand still, hey, this is Michigan. I can go and win a national title there.
And you could get Sam Leavitt there.
Yeah.
But here's I think the most
salient
point.
Well, they already had Bryce Underwood, maybe.
Well, maybe if he stays. I mean, I think there's going to be a large drop out of players there too at the wrong time. The thing I heard yesterday made the most sense. If you're Kenny Dillingham, why is Sam Leavitt leaving? Why does he feel like there's something better out there for him? That kind of shows you the state of Arizona State, that they're just not at that higher tier yet.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a Big 12 issue too. We're going to get to those picks, I promised you, from last week, but we do want to shift now and talk about baseball because it is, as we talked about last week, a very important time of year.
Hot stove.
Well, and things are getting hot, and they're getting hot in terms of the Phillies. We got this, last week. It was Kyle Schwarber. They finally got that deal done. JT Realmuto's in limbo. Everybody thinks it's going to happen, but it's not a done deal yet. And then all of a sudden, tell us what they did to their outfield, Dan.
It seems like we have a new everyday right fielder, which doesn't mean much for the Nick Castellanos' future in Philadelphia. But
we knew that.
Yeah, Adolis Garcia was signed 1 year, $10 million deal. It's kind of a bridge contract. And you may say, well, why is it a bridge contract? Because we have a man named Gabriel Rincones in AAA that hits a lot of home runs too, and they want to make sure there's space on the roster for him and for Justin Crawford. Justin Crawford seems like it's his job to lose one of the outfield positions. Now, what everyone seems to be freaking out about is this all they're going to do? Keep in mind, Adolis Garcia is a 30 home run bat. A little easier park to hit in at Citizens Bank Park for home run potential. I think he could be the cleanup hitter behind Bryce Harper. And I think that could help the lineup. Because again, now you have another true power bat similar to Kyle Schwarber. This man swings for the fences and he plays a legitimate right field. Very good right field defense, has a heck of an arm. There's all kinds of highlights online of him with outfield assists, throwing out runners at home. This could be a very, very good underrated move. And you might say to me, well, what about Max Kepler last year? Max Kepler actually was overall a fine player, an average major league player. Was he a superstar? No, but that was not the expectation. This man is not a superstar either. He's a complimentary player.
But fans look at this and say, I just cannot trot out Brandon Marsh again. I can't do.
There's no
Alec
guarantee
Bohm.
He's on the team.
I can't do Alec Bohm
No guarantee
again.
he's on the team.
Well, why? I mean, but why? I mean, they're on the team now. These guys feel like they're going to run it back. People are getting worried. People are getting antsy. Where is Harrison Bader fit in all of this? We just signed a pitcher yesterday. Talk about
Brad
that.
Keller. So that's actually a large signing. 2-year deal for a legitimate right-hand power arm. Throws 99 fastball, 4-seam. Also has a wipeout slider. And his statistics last year were the best of his career. A lot of the quant people, all the number people think he is going to sustain this. He could be the setup man to Duran, which moves everybody up a slot. Your best friend, Orion Kirkering, moves up a slot. Maybe he's more 6th or 7th inning. Matt Strom, more 6th or 7th inning.
Hold on a second. Can he show his face anymore?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, again, that Dodgers series was not on him. As much as it stunk and as much as the way it ended, it was not on him.
I can't get the image out of my mind. JT pointing to first.
It's baseball, man. You go out there every day and you make up for what you did wrong.
That's a pretty big, to quote George Costanza, matzo ball hanging out though on him. It's so funny. I'm not sure I want to look at
Phillies Twitter was so funny yesterday because it went from doom and gloom about Adolis Garcia and is that our only move to all of a sudden the Phillies got a legitimate power arm in the bullpen, and now everyone's saying, wow, this bullpen looks legit.
Because we still have the Spider, right?
Oh yeah. Mr. Duran's still going to be sitting out there in the ninth inning. So again, by the way, I'm checking my watch. It is December 18th. Happy birthday, Dad, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday,
We have 60
Mr.
more
Tommaso.
days until spring training, so a lot can happen. And keep in mind, the third base, I think I've said this to you privately, the third base market's going to take a lot of time because, unfortunately, Scott Boras is the Jimmy Sexton of baseball and controls so many clients that he loves extending out negotiations as long as possible to put teams on the ropes.
But according to Santa's watch and according to Phillies Twitter, it's getting late.
I don't believe that.
Okay, so I want to bring in Dave Shiner because just quickly, he's running the show for us as he always does. Do love talking Philly sports. We don't have a lot to talk about.
He's up there at the North Pole too, by the way.
Yes,
he's over
my
there.
undisclosed location.
We don't have a lot to talk about with the Eagles this week, but the Phillies here. Again, we talked about Penn State. Penn State may have some issues, but better to be Penn State than Michigan. The Phillies may have some issues here, but better to be them than the Mets. I mean, the Mets are doing a fire sale right now, it seems, and the Mets fans are freaking out.
We even talk about upset fans.
Right.
Yeah,
the Phillies fans are nowhere near that. And again, the Philly
have an
fans,
embarrassment of riches
we
right now.
have the reputation, but again, I've seen the way the Mets fans are reacting here, and by the way, they're probably justified. However, one of the gripes with Mets fans is, or one of the realities is, that group didn't win enough.
Correct.
They were there from 2015.
They had their chance
to 2025. They had their chance. They blew it. Look at what they did this year. The last 2 years, they crashed and burned.
And
in
now
the
there's
last half
rumors
the
of
season.
clubhouse problems.
And the group was likable. The OMG, the Grimace. I get it. Fans like players. I have loved this iteration of the Phillies.
But you know what they didn't do that year? They didn't bring back some of those likable players.
Well, and again, I think what they're saying is it's not good enough, and we're going to reset things, and that's what essentially Penn State said.
Yeah.
And that's what the
How
Phillies,
wonderful.
That's what the Phillies are saying, though. And your consternation about Penn State is the Mets fans' consternation. The Phillies fans aren't quite there yet. But Shiner, do you think that what we're doing so far is enough? And does it cause you some concern if we don't re-sign Harris and Bader? If we trot out Marsh and Bohm as everyday players again, and is the bullpen really firmed up here? Just your thoughts on where the Phillies are at.
I think we're definitely in a better spot than the Mets. I can say that, and
Which
I think
does matter.
Yeah, and I think what people forget is the Phillies were really the only team that matched up okay against the Dodgers. I know it looked bad from us at the end, but that team, when they first signed Shohei, they were like, oh, they're going to go 162-0, and they kind of underperformed early on, and then they were a juggernaut at the end of the season. And the Phillies were the only team that in the series even gave them a shot. They matched up well, and we did everything we could. I think bringing back Schwarber is a big thing.
That was the priority.
Obviously, the signing of the bullpen guy is going to be huge. Alvey being available again.
Yeah, that's not. I didn't even include him.
Now you got
fair point.
3 guys throwing upper 90s into the hundreds.
Stuff.
I mean, as long as we get Wheeler, we don't know what his medical situation is. I know he was at a Sixers game the other day, smiling. So we're hoping he comes back.
Give him as much time as he needs.
And it has been an embarrassment of riches as far as wins for the Phillies. And I think we have to realize, hey, we're not like a team like the Orioles, who are a 100-win team that fell off the face of the earth. We at least are still consistent, still in the playoff run. It may not have gone as deep, and it feels like every year it's almost like that post-2008, 2009 year where like each year we kept losing a series earlier, since the last World Series that the
I
Phillies
think that's
were
the
in.
frustrating part. We've won the division 2 years in a row.
But we're not a 60-win team.
No, we're a
that's
90,
the thing. And I think
96-win
people need to
team.
Yeah.
realize
and I think
that
that's
there's
what
still
Dombrowski's
quality.
trying to get out to the media. Like, hey, we brought back Topper because we want to keep this rolling. The players like what's going on here. It's just we have to break through.
And the other thing is, I think we all need to admit this too. We do need somebody in that fourth hole behind Bryce, but Bryce needs to be better.
Yeah, he
needs to be healthy for a year too. You know, let's stop throwing at his elbow every 20 games.
He's
right?
recirculating his blood through a machine.
Yeah.
He's drinking raw milk.
I think I need to do that.
Hyperbolic chamber, possibly.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean,
Maybe one of those chambers. What are they called?
The hyperbolic chamber. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, but
that T.O. went into.
No, yeah, that
cryo,
sensory deprivation.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. The floats.
You can then,
well, he's got 4 kids. Does he have time for that?
You can remote view.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to go back and remote view himself in the past and see how he swung the bat when he was 16, 17, and try to get that back.
That whip
you know?
back,
I do think though that Bader is the big question mark.
It's a what if.
If you bring that guy in, I think that helps solidify that outfield because he was amazing out there. Now, can he sustain the offensive numbers to match his defensive prowess? We'll yet to see. But I think if he comes back, I think everybody kind of shuts up a little bit about this outfield.
I think we need to see too what they could get for Bohm, even if they kind of dump him.
Yeah. Third base is definitely the question mark
because he's worth $10 million this year. That they know from arbitration. So you dump him, all of a sudden you could reinvest that money, whether it is a Bregman, whether it is Bader. I think that's what they're waiting on because it seems like there's a threshold they'll hit and not go past.
To be determined.
We'll have to see.
Will Alec Bohm be a Philly next year?
I say no.
I don't think he can be at this point.
They just need to find the suitor. And again, third base market's going to take a while to settle out.
Now, will he be upset if he is still on the team? No, I like Alec Bohm. I think he's streaky as all get up, but I can't see them investing more in him down the road.
I think that the fit for him is probably a team like Seattle that is not going to re-sign Eugenio Suarez. So wait and see. That's my guess.
How many days, Dan, till spring training?
60 days.
60 days. Here we go.
All right. Well, we're going to move on now because for those of you that want to get back to football, let's do it. But we will follow those stories with the Phillies and the rest of baseball's hot stove coming up. Let's talk about our game recaps here in just a second because one of the things that we want to talk about is the fact that I did really, really, really well last week, and there's no denying it. Check this out. Brady Boy went 4-1.
Almost a clean sweep.
Yeah, Andy Reid and the Chiefs. That could not have ended more poorly. They lost. They were 5.5-point favorites. They lost. Patrick Mahomes gets injured, and they got eliminated from the playoffs.
All in one fell swoop.
That is a tough pill to swallow if you're Kansas City. You had a rough week, 2-3. I got you with the Bills.
And
Chiefs
I
let
felt
you down.
so good about the Patriots because they went out to that early lead. I'm like, they could sit on this. They could sit on this in the second half. And instead, they totally sat out the second half.
And this is where if we were better podcasters, if we had more time, if we were more prepared, I would have clipped out the moment where I said last week, this feels like a Cowboys loss. They could chip away at the Eagles. They're good enough. They can't let a team, a below 500 team like the Vikings, beat them, and yet it feels like they're going to do it. You agreed with me. You picked the Cowboys. I was appalled that you did it. You deserve the loss. I really want to play the clip because that is the exact type of game I knew they would lose. It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's surprising because again
It's not surprising.
Well, but they were hot.
I told you they were going to lose,
and they have the best passing offense in the NFL, and they couldn't beat the Vikings. It's remarkable. Different head coach, same results.
It really is pathetic.
And yeah, I don't get it.
And the Eagles go out and look good again, so they take charge of the division. Like if you're Jerry Jones, and we've got a Cowboys fan in the newsroom, he said Jerry's just throwing stuff at that wall. I mean. It really is unbelievable.
Well, and again, this is what you get for signing Matt Eberflus as your defensive coordinator. I mean, he looked clueless in that game.
Well, it was not surprising to me. I told you this would happen.
I know, but at home against a team that's eliminated from the playoffs, I'm like, you got to win that game.
Well, because of that,
look at this.
Am back,
a shake
baby.
Up.
Now, I was down and out about 4 weeks ago, and I have surged now 78, 79, right? And you are 77 and 80. Did those numbers line up? Something seems off with that. I'm going to do a little math here. But to me, you look like you're slipping a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I slipped from being above 500, 3 weeks ago.
No, they do line up. 157 games apiece.
Yeah. I slipped, and it started about 3 weeks ago. The NFL is really doing me in hard. That's all I got to say about that. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong in the NFL, but It does not like me right now.
All right. Speaking of the NFL, we did see the Eagles bounce back against a lowly Raiders team. Pete Carroll, rough.
Another man looking clueless on the sideline. Him and Matt Eberflus could join a club.
Yeah. Do you think, though, that the Eagles are back on track, or is that simply they played a terrible team?
Well,
now, sometimes that's what it takes. But, again, I have long said I think the Eagles need to get a little healthy. I think they will figure things out. I know fans are ready to panic with them there, too. But, listen, the schedule lightens up a bit. They are leading the NFC East. There's really no competition there.
Correct.
But I think the question in everybody's mind is, how are you going to match up against some of these better teams in the NFC? The Bears.
Well, they did already,
the
though.
Packers, the Lions, the Rams. They've beaten all of them, right?
Except for the Bears. They lost to the Bears. But my feeling is what I saw this past Sunday, sure, it's not as good of an opponent, but they ran a different-looking offense. They ran slant patterns. They got A.J. Brown down the seam. Things that they were doing well last year seemed to come back in the playbook. A lot of under center plays, which for whatever weird reason, they're doing better under center this year in the running and the passing game than they are out of shotgun. And I don't know what that is, but Jalen also running the ball, as I've said throughout the last couple of years, when he runs the ball effectively, they're unstoppable because now all of a sudden the defense is in conflict. They have to...
Well, they're on their heels.
Right. They have to respect him as the runner. They also have to respect him as the passer.
We're going to take a look at who the Eagles play this week. Again, it's a fairly easy game for them, or at least it should be because it's a divisional game, and they could certainly use the win again. More on that coming up, but now it's time for our Games of the Week.
Games of the Week.
All right, and you're going to take the lead here again. We're going to start with the college football playoff preview because we've got a quadruple set of matchups here. And is there weather to be had? Maybe in some of them?
Yeah, I mean, it's very marginal. So, after this active pattern where some parts of the country have had snow over the last 2 weeks, things have begun a more of a milder stretch, and that does affect this weekend because, remember, these are games in home stadiums on campus.
Which means they're open door, and that is going to be fascinating to watch. This first game, it's a primetime feature tomorrow night right here on ABC. And Oklahoma is favored now, but we've seen this go back and forth all week, Dan.
Yeah, so, I update these graphics early in the week, and at that point, Alabama was not favorited. Then as of yesterday, they were favorited, and now again, Oklahoma is now the favorite. And Brett, I think the tough part about this game is you can't get the earlier matchup out of your head, where Oklahoma on defense essentially took the game away from Alabama. Alabama did not look good in the second half. They lost that game. What changes this time back in Oklahoma territory?
Well, here's what could change, and that is that Alabama is going to be healthier. And if Jam Miller comes back, I think that offense can
Yeah, they didn't run the ball in the SEC championship game.
Correct.
So that was a big deal.
Correct. And I think that will allow the passing game to open up. Ryan Williams has not been a factor lately, and Alabama's offense looks stagnant. There's no doubt about it. But you know who wins big games? Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
You know who struggled in big games? Brent Venables. However, he's won enough.
Sometimes we say vulnerables.
Right, exactly. But not this year. He's won enough. And what's the best unit on the field?
His defense.
The Oklahoma defense.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, he's beaten Kalen DeBoer 2 years in a row. But that's why I think Alabama's due here. And I know Oklahoma's at home, but they've looked off. They have not been able to do a lot offensively since the
Tight
Mateer
game.
injury.
Look at that over-under.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a low. I think it's going to be a low-scoring tight game. I mean, what was it, 23-21?
Yep, it was
earlier in the
something
year,
like that,
a few weeks ago. I think it's going to be a game like that. I think Alabama can come out on top. Now, this is the Notre Dame Bowl. Both teams, right? Mario Cristobal,
man.
Mike Elko, again a Penn State target early in the search. Staying with A&M, they play at Kyle Field, one of the toughest places to play. They're favored by 3.5, and I think that's the home field.
And where's this broadcast?
ABC.
Right here.
That's the next day at noon. Both of the big games on ABC, and then they license them out to TNT because the others are
Laughers.
And especially the one is a rematch.
Awful.
Tulane at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 17.5-point favorites, and James Madison goes to Eugene. That's a night game on TNT. And Oregon.
You can sleep through that one, folks.
Almost. Well, you're going to have NFL on, and the Eagles are on.
Yeah, that's true.
So the Eagles are on Saturday. They're kind of in between these two games.
And if you have time, there's a 7 p.m. ABC 27 news broadcast Saturday night that yours truly will be a part of.
Well, there you go. So it's all
I'll be tuning in.
All right.
There you go. You have at least one viewer. Saturday and Sunday, though, and this is the interesting thing. The Eagles are taking on the Commanders 5 o'clock Saturday on Fox.
Jaden Daniels less Commanders team. He has been shut down for the year, which the futures of the Commanders right now is in flux with his health.
And I feel bad because we watched my neighbors are Eagles fans, but his college roommate is a Commanders fan.
Really?
And we watched the NFC Championship last year, and obviously I felt somewhat bad for them. Not too bad. I mean, I wanted the Eagles to win, but
we waxed them.
I know Commanders fans. We live in an area that has a lot of different fandoms, and this is a franchise that has been put through the ringer by Dan Snyder, been put through the ringer with the renaming controversy, been put through the ringer with just terrible teams over the years,
terrible coaching.
And now they finally seem to have everything correct. Right? They have the quarterback, they have the players, they have the coach, they have new ownership, and yet. All of a sudden, it's like falling apart before their very eyes. It's a shame.
It's a shame, but this is how precarious things could be in the NFL, and that's why sometimes I kind of take a step back with the Eagles, and as frustrated as I can get when their offense is inefficient, this is the best era of Eagles football, and it could fall apart at any time because all it takes is one major injury.
It's been the best era almost of Phillies baseball. So that's what, you really have to
enjoy
appreciate
these when they happen.
Yeah. Buccaneers at Panthers. And again, this is a 1 p.m. game on Sunday. And the Buccaneers are still an interesting team to me because I always feel like they could make a playoff run. And then they show up on Sundays and I'm like, I'm underwhelmed. But,
this is a big game for Todd Bowles.
Well, it is. They're favored against a team they should beat. But the Panthers, they're kind of hovering around 500.
Well, they are 500. Both of these teams are 500. This is essentially for the NFC South.
That's amazing.
Who wants to win it? Yeah. Anybody?
Well,
anybody?
I would hope the Buccaneers do, and they're going to have a chance.
And I picked the Panthers last week, and I can't say it on the air. They didn't help me.
Did anybody see this game being a biggie? Jags and Broncos in September.
Duval.
Broncos are favored at home, of course, but do you give the Jags any threat here? Or are they kind of one of those teams that,
They are, but this is one of their best years in franchise history. They are a 4-loss team. The Colts, who were the story of the NFL, have totally fallen on hard times. Now, again, that's injury-based too, but the Jags are winning the division and should win it easily.
Talk to me about the weather forecast here for the weekend.
So
because,
the big front comes through Friday night, so that helps clear things out for the weekend. So if you live in the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, we have a big front coming through. It will get slightly cooler for Saturday and Sunday, but the Great Lakes in the Northeast, other than lake effect snow, there's no game in Buffalo this weekend. That's not the issue. The one storm system we have to monitor is what's happening in Eugene for the playoff game. Again, open air. We will see it as a noon start there right here on ABC. Cooler, chances for rain, a little bit damp, and a little bit windy at times too out of the south. So I don't think they totally escape with a dry game overall. I mean, it rains there a lot, but not the best outdoor conditions for a football game.
Yeah, maybe the under might be something to consider there. Although, having said that,
I have a story about that.
We're going to talk about it. So I'm going to go Alabama here. I just think Kalen DeBoer is due. I know Oklahoma's defense is good. I think Alabama gets – I'm going to pick them outright. I have plus 1.5. I think they can win the game easily.
I think they could, but I can't get that game out of my head from earlier this season that Oklahoma's defense took over and won the game.
Yeah, and they might do it again. And they're at home. Let's not forget about it.
And by the way,
they're at the Palace on the Plains.
It seems like the Achilles heel for Alabama is pressure against the pass. And it just seems like Simpson and company, the wide receivers, they're not on the same page when there's quick pressure. I think they could have their way with the Alabama offense.
Ty Simpson been regressing a bit, but I'm not sure he's healthy either. So it's something to monitor. Now, I'm going to do something that may surprise you here. I'm going to pick Miami plus 3.5, and I think they can win this outright.
Wow. And Mario, you trust.
I do, and I'll tell you why after you tell me why you're picking Texas A&M.
Well, I just think they're the better team. I think despite all the gripes about their scheduling, I think they did a wonderful job this year. Probably should have finished undefeated. Didn't quite get it done, but Mike Elko seems like he's cooking down there. It's been a long time coming for Texas A&M. I think this game means a lot. It's a home game. I'm taking the home team.
Yeah, I think it's a very smart pick, but here's the issue. I'm not sure they're the better team, and that's why I'm at least going to pick Miami to cover, and I think they could win this outright. I think Miami's lines are better. I think their offensive line is really good. I think we've seen Carson Beck play really well down the stretch. He's used to big games. He's used to big stadiums. He played in the SEC. He knows what it's like to win these big games. And to be frank, I think Texas A&M was the beneficiary of playing the bottom half of the SEC.
Maybe, sure.
And when they ran into a top half team, they got pushed around. They lost.
Yeah.
And they lost to Texas, who really also had their issues this year.
Yeah.
So I think Miami being a playoff team,
I understand. Yep, I see all that.
playing really well. You saw them destroy Pittsburgh, who at one point was a decent team. I think Miami can go in and get this victory here. I really do. I think it's going to be a good game because I don't discount what you're saying. But I think you have to take Miami seriously here. That might end up being the best game of the weekend.
I think it's the best game of the weekend. I think it tells you a lot about the next round.
Yeah. Do we need to talk about the other two games?
I mean, the biggest X factor right now is what players are going to be motivated at Ole Miss. Will they get their act together, or could this be the start of the unraveling? I think they get by Tulane, no problem. But let's see how they look.
The only thing I will say is, Charlie Weiss Jr. is still there. The other coaches are still there.
Yeah.
Lane is the only one that
Pete
isn't.
Golding, yep.
Pete Golding, they love. They wanted that to happen. I think they sleep
But
well
rumors
through this.
around the quarterback.
Well, I think he's going to leave. But let's see how far
Yeah.
they get. Chambliss.
Trinidad Chambliss.
Trinidad Chambliss. Yes, thank you.
Mouthful.
It's been a day.
That's what I'm here for.
Tell me about that under, though.
Yeah, so the Oregon game, I was very tempted to go the under because it was 50.5 early in the week. Now it's dropped to 47.5, I believe, so a full 3 points. And the reason why I was going to go for was weather related. I thought, okay, you get JMU undersized, under-talented going up there. I mean, it's conceivable.
40-7.
Right, 40-7
Yeah.
or 45-0. And then that's the under.
Yeah, exactly.
But now that the under's fallen, I'm chickening out.
Well, and I think it's smart, but it also is a lesson here. You got to sometimes get your bets in early in the
Yep,
week.
you get a better
those
number.
numbers, you get a better number, and you got to jump on them. But that's, the weather, again, definitely could have an impact on that number. There's no way around it. We're both picking the Eagles. I mean, again, I think they've righted the ship. I think they're playing a similar team here without its quarterback like they did with the Raiders.
Old friend Marcus Mariota. We go from Kenny Pickett to Marcus Mariota.
I just think they're the better team and they're going to get it done.
I think so, and I think the Eagles have a lot to play for still. The seeding is still possible. I mean, let's face it, the NFC is not the strongest it's been.
Well,
anything can happen.
So speaking of that, here's the Buccaneers at the Panthers.
Yeah.
Again, 2 500 teams, but is there any – are you and I just going by the uniform here? In other words, the Panthers have sucked for so long. Now they're at home. They could win this game.
They could.
But
they probably won't.
Okay. But I do like – I think the Buccaneers are more talented.
I don't have a great feeling either way, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I'm kind of banking on Baker Mayfield, but is that a mistake? I guess time will tell.
We both
Mike
do
Evans
like the
back.
Broncos.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a big game.
Thank
They're a
you.
different team
Yes.
with him on the roster.
Yeah,
and
that's
Godwin.
true.
And that is
And
why
Godwin.
Mr. Shiner's here.
Yep.
Right? And so I think
Well, I've almost forgot about Mike Evans because he has been such a non-factor.
yeah, but I mean, again, if they can have him down the stretch, they could be a dangerous team in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. Jaguars and Broncos, you talked a lot about the Jags, and yet you've got nothing to show
Well,
for it.
I mean, until the Broncos lose a close game, they seem to win everything.
It's true.
I just, it's one of those seasons.
Beauregard
It
Knicks.
just seems like everything's lining up for them for a first-round exit. Or in their case, it might be a second-round
Oh,
exit.
that is just harsh.
Well, I mean, again, we've seen it, though. We've seen teams run the gauntlet, and then they get into the playoffs, and they're one and done.
Yeah, like the Philadelphia Phillies,
Yep.
another sport. All right, here's my best betting. We picked 2 each this week.
Time now for Brett's Best.
All right, so 9 games total.
Well, hold
and,
on. I need to pause for a second. We have a push alert from ABC 27. Former Central York Penn State quarterback Bo Prabula enters the transfer portal.
And okay,
I'm just saying.
is it possible?
Anything is possible, my friend. It is college football after all.
Could he come home?
Yes, I think he could.
Man, that is wild. We see.
How much is that going to
We
cost?
did break.
Well, right. I mean,
Well, hey, we have the money.
supposedly we have the money.
Okay,
Just, I thought I'd throw that out there.
there you go. And that comes from our sports team here at ABC 27. So there you go.
Something to follow.
Thank you, Dano, for reading that.
Now, what does that mean about Missouri and Eli Drinkowitz? It's a little surprising to me.
Well, or does it just mean new coach, new coming home?
So it just wrote. I don't want to dwell on this because I want to get to Brett's best, but it just seems like with NIL, and there's some rumblings behind the scenes, not just Penn State but other programs, that these kids are promised money, and then it doesn't materialize over time. And again, these contracts are kind of loose and fast, and how do you account for that? It's just all of a sudden this past week, so many quarterbacks in the portal. Did they not get what they were expecting?
Well,
It's a great question, right? I mean, again, we have no idea. You know, in other sports, we get an idea what the contracts are like. In college football, it's all smoke and mirrors.
It is a musical chairs industry.
It's bizarre.
And it's wild. So, yeah. All right. Well, there you go. We did
Brett's best.
Brett's best. We did, well, not we, but you read some breaking news, and that is really cool. And we're going to follow that and see what happens to him. Okay, my best bets here for the week. Nothing's going to trump that. I mean, come on. I'm going Sunday Night Football. I'm going Monday Night Football. These are two that stood out to me on the board. The Ravens are favored by 3 at home. But do you agree? Can we just say this, that, and again, listen, Ravens could end up winning that division. They might go to the playoffs. They might make a run. Something seems off with them.
There's not a complete team this year. But with that said, the Patriots have played their tails off this year, and they're not favorited in this game.
I think it stinks.
Or is this the beginning of the end for the Patriots, kind of like I just said with the Broncos?
No, I think the Patriots are well coached.
Okay.
I think they have the right guy.
Well,
I
and they
think
need to
have
win
the
again.
right team. And I think they're going against a team that, quite frankly, I mean, do we know if the quarterback's playing?
Yeah, that part I'm not aware of. But I will say, so keep in mind, the Patriots now have 3 losses. The Bills have 4 losses. These games mean a lot for divisions and for seeding.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Nobody's laying down here. They
Right.
matter. These guys won it. I hope is Mr. Shiner looking up Lamar Jackson's status?
How's his
or
hammy?
is he taking a
I'm looking it up right now. Stand by.
A
is he
siesta?
taking a staffing call? That's what I want to know. 49ers at the, because Mr. Shiner is important around here.
He is.
He
He
doesn't
is.
just
He's
run
in
this
charge of a lot.
podcast. He runs the whole show.
Whole shebang.
49ers at the Colts. Monday Night Football. Where?
In Indy. Oh, on ABC. Of
Thank
course.
you. I was waiting. It's ABC and ESPN.
I'm stuck on the line here. It caught my attention
No,
too.
but you have to keep in mind. So basically, what has happened the first part of this season is the Colts were the darlings of the NFL.
They were.
They had a new tight end.
and I love Shane Steichen. I'm a big fan.
No, they Shane Steichen's offense. They had a new tight end in that offense, a certain Mr.
Tyler Warren
They run through the
of
first
Andy Koldenecki fame.
right. They run through the first part of their schedule like nobody's business. And Daniel Jones looks like a hero out there. Now he's injured. He goes down
Twice he got hurt.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it's-
now all of a sudden,
poor guy.
the Seahawks were 14-point favorites, 13.5-point favorites last week, and they demolished them. I think the Colts have a world of problems, and I think the 49ers, again, they're
Can
fighting.
you play quarterback?
They're fighting. No, but I mean,
Are you and Philip roughly the same age?
he's a little older, and he gets his health insurance back now. I saw that story.
With 10 kids.
He did as good as he could do. Right. Listen, I think the Colts are up the river.
Literally.
See?
I mean,
Yeah.
so here's an interesting point. Why do you pick Riley Leonard and then say to yourselves as a franchise, Philip Rivers at 44 years old gives us a better chance to win? I just don't understand. What is going on there?
Well, maybe Riley Leonard doesn't know the offense yet. I don't know.
I mean, it's week, 15?
Well, and Philip Rivers coming in cold knows it better. I mean, I'm arguing against myself.
Yeah,
now.
I don't
what
know.
What do we have on the Ravens?
All right, so they are saying that Jackson missed practice Wednesday
Oh, boy.
due to flu-like symptoms. So no injury designation as far as his
Interesting.
health. However, flu-like symptoms, missed practice Wednesday. Official report has not come out for today's taping
Boy.
on Thursday, but they can hook him up to an IV bag and he's probably okay.
Well,
We'll see
and
what
again,
happens.
Vegas seems to know the Ravens are going to win, so
Not according to my watch. Okay. Let's go to the Doppler Dandies.
It's Doppler Dandies.
well, you're going to see one similarity between Brett and I because that 49ers game caught my attention.
Ooh, it caught your eye too. I love it.
But we first go to Detroit because the Lions are kind of a confounding team this year. But speaking of confounding, if you are a Steelers fan, I feel for you because it just seems like you ride the wave every single week and you don't know what you're going to get. This is an interesting game to me because I
is.
think both teams have flaws, and the Lions at home are favored by a full touchdown.
That's a big number.
It's a big number.
For a team that has flaws.
Yep.
And I know the Steelers have flaws, but I told you the other week, the Steelers find ways to
They
win
do.
these games.
They do. Mike Tomlin
Now,
finds a way.
I don't know if they can win this, But my goodness, couldn't you
Tough
see it being a
end of the
field
year
goal
game.
game?
Yes,
and just,
absolutely.
Now, see, I love this too because you have me thinking you're going to pick the Steelers +7. He's riding with Dan Campbell. I know he is.
Well, the thing I will say is I think where the Lions kind of tip the scales a little bit, better offense than the Steelers.
Yes.
So that could influence my pick.
They're going against a good defense.
Yeah, they are. They are. They absolutely are. Now,
Possibly no TJ Watt, too.
Yeah, well, yeah,
You know?
that's a weird story. Needling.
You got
puncturing a lung.
Tyrod Taylor.
Man.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. Well, what do you like now? Do you agree with me about this game? Because obviously, again, we don't talk about when we make our own picks. We don't discuss what games they are. So this stood out to you. Why?
Well, the
'Cause it stood
6.5
out to me
point.
too.
Yeah, and the Colts need to win. I think they face elimination if they don't win.
Which is hard to believe. Again, it's how quickly a season can turn.
They're at 500. So again, it turned very sour for them. And again, they were the story. Their owner's on the sideline watching everything they do. Now, will all that come into question? I think it will. And I would rather see Riley Leonard at quarterback than Phillip Rivers.
Well, we'll see if you get that chance.
And I'm not much of a Riley Leonard fan, but to me, it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, it does seem bizarre. But yet he played.
He played, and he did okay.
Yeah, he did okay. All right, let's get to the final picks.
But okay.
Final picks.
I need to keep my hot streak going. So the question is, can I? We're picking 9 apiece.
Well, I'm glad I'm getting you on a day like today when things are going wrong for you.
Oh, I know. Well, I hope I can bounce back. We do differ. I'm going to go Alabama +1.5. You're going Oklahoma
Booma
-1.5.
Suna.
There it is. I'm going to go Miami +3.5. I'm going to trust that Miami's the better team.
And I'm sticking with the coach I wanted for Penn State. His name's Mike Elko.
Yeah, and he's going to cover at home. We both go Ole Miss and Oregon. We both go Eagles. We both
And
go
again,
Bucks.
I almost went the under with Oregon, so that's still on the table for anyone who wants to think about it.
Yeah, it's just that it has dropped, and I think it's dropped for a good reason. We both go Broncos, so no difference there. I think the Patriots will cover. They might win outright. I've got them at +3.
Look at you.
You
Yep.
are going to pick the Lions -7, you dirty dog.
Yeah, and again, it really made me stop and think. It is a good game to think about, but again, for us, I want to make up some ground here. I'm picking the Lions. I'm not going out on a limb.
49ers, we both like at -6.5. So that is a wrap up here for this week. Again, it's going to be fun. The college football playoff starts tomorrow night, Friday night on ABC with a big one, Alabama at Oklahoma. That's going to be a fun one. And then that big Miami Texas A&M game is noon the next day. It's a great weekend for college football fans. They do go up against the NFL, which is going to be tough.
Well, and they're on TNT for those lesser
Yeah.
games. So I have a feeling that's not going to go too well. And maybe that's what helps prompt some change with the playoff committee because, again, my heart of hearts says Notre Dame did lose out on this whole deal. I still think they should be in, and I think we should see them in this first round. And, you know, I understand the group of 5, and I understand getting them in, but maybe that's a separate play-in game or something. You get the 2 best group of 5 teams, something to, I don't know, make this a little more interesting.
Put Tulane against JMU. And
Right, that would be fun.
That would be a fun game, or at least one of them gets in. But again, the ACC messed that up because Duke was the champion with a 5-loss team, so it really didn't help them. But either way, we get bonus football games. I'm not going to complain about it. We're going to keep our
There's some bowl games out there, too.
Oh,
We didn't
yeah.
really talk about that, but, you know, again, when we come back for the new year, we'll still have some games ahead of us. We'll have playoff games, so we'll get into all that.
Absolutely. So enjoy your week here, your 2 weeks, really, for Christmas and New Year's. We
Drink
will
some
see you.
eggnog.
We are going to see you in the new year. Drink some eggnog. Mr. Shiner, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, boys. And, you know, it's been a pleasure doing this podcast again. I just want to thank you guys for getting it back rolling because it's been one heck of a ride, and I really enjoy doing
We're
this every
6
week.
months in.
Well,
by the
we
way.
enjoy you
great.
running the board. We
Yeah,
enjoy
of
all of
course.
you watching and listening. And we should say this. We can give a teaser. We I believe, have a place to go for our steak dinner.
We do.
And we're going to announce that more in the new year. We're going to take you behind the scenes there. We're going to have we're going to wine and dine each other. But the question is, who is going to be the ultimate victor?
It's going to come down to the wire.
I can't believe it's this tight. We're one game.
Well,
think about
again-
it. We've picked 157 games, and we are one game apart.
And by the way, we're both near 500, so we're holding our own.
We are. That is a wrap. Weather Wagers. You can write to us, weatherwagers@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. There are our social media channels for now. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, everybody. And we'll see you back here in 2026.